The first expectation one might have of West Texas is flat. But in reality, West Texas is home to the Guadalupe mountain range, once a great Permian reef, teeming with underwater creatures millions upon millions of years ago. As this trip was relatively unplanned and kind of thrust out at the last moment, me and my friend Chris went in really not knowing what to expect. It's really quite an exhilarating feeling. Around every corner was something new and unseen, something grand and sometimes unexpectedly beautiful. While the Guadalupes are a part of the national park system, it still is in the midst of the Chihuahuan Desert, meaning there's little to no water. Unlike the Great Forest and the streams of National Forest I'm used to hiking out east, we were faced with a new challenge: water. We planned out an 18-mile loop and set out with nearly 12 pounds of water. We're going up Bear Canyon Trail and it is 3.1 miles, so 5K up a huge mountain, probably like 2,000 vertical feet of gain, and we're just gonna power through. Oh, it's gonna be rough. We made it up Bear Canyon Trail and it was rough like we thought it would be. The landscape is just completely changed. The complete switch to a new environment in a matter of a couple miles was nothing short of incredible. The climb up Bear Canyon brought us from the Chihuahuan desert floor into this new alpine ecosystem. However, these alpines really took a toll on my lung. Breathing became a chore, but the excitement of the high country brought a sense of wonder that hiking almost never fails to deliver. Really in the mountains now. Wind up here is probably 50 miles an hour. It is just gusting through here. And yeah, I got peanut butter. Descending down this has been quite, I don't know how to put it, epic. Don't like that word, but definitely holds true. Just switchbacks all the way down and just gorgeous to the Tejas Trail. I mean, would never expected something like this in Texas. This is insane. Really. Just about done with our day. Pretty much once we get off the Tejas Trail, we're right back at the visitor center where we started. And we head to the Bureau of Land Management land. They have a campground there, and that pretty much wraps it up. That's day one, and 3 more days out here. Man, I can't put it in words right now. Today, we had to battle the cold and the wind. It was a stark contrast from the blue, warm skies yesterday. And before we set out, the park rangers at the visitor center warned us to stay out of the alpines as best as we could and along the desert floor because of the spring winds that the Guadalupes are more than accustomed to. They told us that the winds could reach as high as 80 miles an hour and would keep an average of 60. But we still had trails down.
But when it's cold, I wear you like a scarf, and you will keep me warm. So we should drift into the snow, and I'd write words, and you would only laugh. 'Cause that is when you are at your best. Let us look back at the map that was drawn the first night that we kissed by someone else, and you might call him Lord, and he will be.
Day 3 was easily the most beautiful. We hiked an out and back on the McCulloch Canyon trail, which took us winding through the canyon and later up past 8,000 feet into the high country. The winds finally died down compared to yesterday's incredibly high winds. All this meant was that high alpines were finally accessible again. Without really any problems today, all we had was a race against the clock. The McCulloch Canyon Visitor Center opens at 9 and closes at 6, which really only gave us 9 hours to cover 20 miles. I guess we'll have to hike fast. You really see how the Guadalupes were once a Permian reef. The way some rocks jutted out of the landscape made it so apparent, especially today. Millions of years of processes through erosion all laid out in front of me. All I could think about was the land before my time, what mountains were once home to extinct marine life, and the millions of fossils under my feet. All the sedimentary rocks and natural processes we learned in school finally make sense out here. Yeah, remember that time cut off at 6? We made it at 5:50.
You know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Our final day out in the Guadalupes was on the park's most popular trail. We were going to summit Guadalupe Peak, the tallest peak in Texas at 8,750 feet. After 60 miles of hiking in 3 days, our legs were pretty shot, but we couldn't go home without bagging the tallest peak in Texas. It was only right. The Guadalupe Peak Trail is 9 miles out and back, leading from the visitor center up nearly 4,000 feet of elevation, and then straight back down. It was gonna be tough, but to be honest, Bear Canyon was probably harder. The final day of any trip is always where the reflection starts to peek through. My reflections mostly centered around how grateful I was to be here in the wilderness. The public lands the United States offers is something often underappreciated. For just $10, we were able to turn a spring break trip that was falling apart due to ill planning to a final destination that led us here, the top of the